they were not coached. They were consistent because they were telling the truth. And you saw their demeanor. They both told you, Lou and Twelvvy, both told you he previously carried a prop gun for that 6-month period. After being a victim of acts of violence. And Rocky had it with him on November 6, 2021. And now Rocky's friends knew he had friends. They didn't announce it to the world. Of course, that would be stupid to say, put a social media post out, carry a prop gun. In case you want to attack me, it's really only a prop gun. No, Lou said, and Twelvvy said to his immediate group of friends. The prosecution peppered Twelvvy with questions about his summary of what he told us, the lawyers. As if that summary contained his prior sworn testimony or prior recorded statements, but it didn't. That's why the judge said it was irrelevant what Twelvvy saw in that document.
That's an improper argument.
Read that. That's why the judge said it's irrelevant what Twelvvy saw in that summary document. Irrelevant.
That is an improper argument.
Instead, the summary was simply something that lawyers have to provide as procedural discovery in this case. Look, when I hear this, they're going to try and pretend like we just came up with this prop gun defense. Rocky has been saying that since day one. Here's the testimony of Detective Flores on this issue. Detective Flores was asked, was this something, when he was asked, because he was asked on direct about when did he first find out about the prop gun defense, and he said, there were no deposition in criminal cases with the question before. Then I said, all right. So basically, what you were being asked when we're talking about that, he just found out about this prop gun. What you're being asked are questions related to discovery disclosure in a criminal case, correct? And he said, yes. So Detective Flores, who was very honest, and I think he tried to do a good job here, told you what that was about. See, if you just listen to the direct in this case, it would make it sound like only 2 weeks ago, oh, there was a prop gun. That's been since day one for Rocky. Discovery in a criminal case is what he was being asked about. I mean, you also heard that it was revealed before jury selection, the day, I think, before jury selection, no, sorry, the day before opening statements, that we got a ballistics report from them that was done over a year before. The day before opening statement, you guys were impounded. Okay. Whatever. And goes crying and screaming. A year after they did it, Detective Flores said, we got it after you guys were impounded in 2025. Detective Zizzo, Sergeant Zizzo, now former police officer Zizzo, said on the witness stand, we may have missed it. We didn't search the whole street. I said, really? Looking at his report like, when did you say that for the first time? He said, today, this morning, he told them that for the first time. Okay. I'm not saying, oh, they just came up with it. This is real life. This is a trial. This is what happens. Sometimes witnesses remember things later, sometimes they don't. But I'm not accusing anyone of perjuring themselves like police officer Zizzo because he just remembered that today, 5 years later. You know, I mean, it's sort of odd. 5 years after the fact, he remembers they may have missed it. But that's okay. Look, more importantly, as Twelvvy told you, what he testified to here in this courtroom is what he told us previously and what he saw that night. Period. He was consistent, he was credible, unlike Relli, who actually contradicted his own recorded statements, and unlike Relli, who actually contradicted his prior sworn testimony over and over again. He committed perjury, he bragged about committing perjury. And the fact that the prosecution tried to make you believe that a summary was Twelvvy's actual statement when it wasn't. It's a game. It's another example of a game. Here's another one. The prosecution asked Twelvvy how he knew it was a prop gun if he never spoke to Rocky about it. That was completely misstating what Twelvvy said on direct testimony. Completely. Twelvvy didn't say he never spoke to Rocky about it. He said the opposite. He said they did speak about it prior to November 6, 2021, in September of 2021 in Harlem at that governor's ball thing, and after he first saw it at the DMV video. He said they spoke about it. But he was ripped apart. You never spoke to Rocky about that, you said. He didn't say that. What other games they play with Twelvvy? You heard this one. You heard Detective Flores tell you that before 2 weeks ago, neither he nor any member of law enforcement ever tried to reach out to Twelvvy. 2025. This event happened in 2021. Before 2 weeks ago, before January of 2025, neither he, the lead detective in this case, or any member of law enforcement tried to reach out to Twelvvy. They knew who he was, obviously. But that still didn't prevent Mr. Lewin from asking Twelvvy if before those last 2 weeks, didn't you get a message from us? Didn't you get a message from us? No, Mr. Lewin, you didn't get a message from me. Detective Flores already cleared that up pretty clearly. He didn't get a message from you. They knew he didn't contact Twelvvy. They knew they didn't try to contact Twelvvy before 2 weeks ago. But he asked him that question. Why give a false impression? That somehow Twelvvy ignored a message? That somehow Twelvvy ignored a message? Oh, I'm sorry.
Disparaging counsel.
Yeah, there cannot be any disparaging, personal attacks.
So it's not personal then. It's a question that was asked that. Okay.
Do not debate with me
Sorry.
about a ruling.
Yep.
Objection sustained. Go ahead.
Okay, well, you heard the testimony. You saw what happened. You figure out what it was all about. But Twelvvy was asked, didn't you get a message from us in the past? When Detective Flores said, no one left him a message. No one tried to reach him. So I don't want to disparage anyone, but you just got to ask yourself, why was that question asked if it didn't happen? Look, you know, what I said, games, they're a constant theme in this trial. Here's another one. Prosecution asked Twelvvy about photos taken in Rocky's bedroom which showed Rocky's registered firearms and not a prop gun there. Those photos were taken during a search of Rocky's residence in April of 2022. 5 months after the incident on East Del Mar in November of 2021. 5 months later. So the fact that there was no prop gun there means absolutely nothing. You heard there had to be a prop gun way before that. And here's this also. Think about this. And why was there no prop gun in the house? You heard why Rocky, for that 5-6 month period, carried a prop gun on advice of security. Because he'd been subject to episodes of violence. He had a stalker. His face was slashed. In home invasions, okay? But he'd been subject to violence. On the street, he didn't have a carry. So, when he wasn't with security, he had this thing to hopefully deter people. At home, he had licensed firearms. Now, because a prop is meant to deter would-be attackers, if they're already in his home, much less in his bedroom, they aren't would-be attackers anymore. They're in fact attackers. And a prop gun would be useless there, obviously. Also with the registered guns found in Rocky's house, I asked Detective Flores if they were legally registered to Rocky, and they objected. They objected to that question.
Now that's an improper argument.
Well, those in fact were registered to Rocky, legal. Others were registered to Lou, legal. Everything in that house was legal and given back to Lou Levin, who was there at the time of the search. They mocked Lou like he must have made that. Not just Lou's magazine, the guns were legal too. They were, two of them were One of them was Lou's, and two was Rocky's. You heard that from the paper. It was legal and registered. Detective Flores made it clear that the weapons found in Rocky's home were legal. So there should have been no dispute over that at all. Search for the truth is what this should be about. I'm trying to win at all points. It's not a game. It's not a game, certainly to him and his family. It's not a game. In fact, the prosecution did absolutely nothing, ladies and gentlemen, to impeach the testimony of Relli. Nothing. Yeah, he got loud and yelled at them a little. But saying liar, liar, pants on fire is not impeachment. He didn't move them off their story once. They were consistent. They stayed exactly consistent with their story the entire time because the truth is easy to remember. The truth is easy to tell. They were not impeached, not once. The fact of the matter is, by the way, it wasn't lack of trying. I mean, they were yelled at, they were berated. I mean, at one point, Twelvvy spoke a dialect from his upbringing, from the street where he's from. And he said this thing, and I personally, he's one of the nicest guys I've ever seen. He said this thing where he's like, "You feel me? You feel me?" And that was just a matter of speaking. But Mr. Lewin had to take that. Say, "No, I don't feel you. I don't really mean I feel you. I can't feel you."
It's an improper argument.
Overall.
No need to mock a witness who came in here and was compliant and respectful. No, they were grilled both Twelvvy and Lou, grilled about many, many things, including the financial motives of being here. And again, they don't contradict their testimony. I mean, Mr. Preslomic this morning spent a lot of time in their testimony, not about their misstatements or their inconsistencies or contradictions or their impeachments, but just repeated their testimony, but in a sarcastic voice, as if that makes a contradiction. That's not proof. That's definitely not proof beyond reasonable doubt. So anyway, the financial motive that they were both crushed on in their cross-examinations, Twelvvy and Lou. Twelvvy said zero. He went zero from him. For Rocky, nothing. He's got his own career, actually, pretty well. Lou said he makes a portion of his salary from Rocky, and he does, and he loves Rocky. They both love Rocky. So no one's trying to pretend they would appear as unbiased with us. They love him. But it's an interesting thing, though, that they were so concerned about both of their financial motives. Not once did the prosecution take issue with the fact that their own witness, Relli, was here because of his financial motivation, and only his financial motivation. A $30 million financial motivation. But they're asking Lou Levin, don't you get 20% of your salary from him? Or that poor IT guy who had to fly from Paris to get it. You made $20,000 last year from him, huh? I mean, their guy's looking $30 million for that. No disgrace. By the way, if Relli got his $30 million that he wanted, that he said repeatedly, they'd have no witness in this case, as you now know, because he'd be on an island somewhere relaxing while they were searching for him. Instead, Relli wants to use law enforcement as a money collector, because he didn't care about the police. You heard him say that many times. And if he got his money, these guys go pound sand. They'll never find him. He's going to be on an island. And he told you how that process works. Actually, going to hear that thing. But talk about extraordinary bias that they just want you to ignore. They don't even mention that one. It can't be, and it shouldn't be. But it's why we're here in this courtroom. It's why we're all here. What else should be ignored? despite all the prosecution's efforts, despite the blistering questions posed to them, both Twelvvy and Lou Levin established these incontrovertible facts. They're not controverted, they're not contested. That Rocky was known to carry a prop gun by his friends. They didn't controvert that at all. The object in his hands on November 6, 2021 was a prop gun. Relli's own actions on November 6, 2021 confirmed that. Twelvvy testified during the first altercation. Relli said something to the effect of, shoot that big ass gun, which explains his later conduct, by the way. Now, Relli said he didn't say that. So, now you have to see, who's more credible, more trustworthy, Twelvvy or Relli? So that's what you have, the words of the two of them, in that regard, in that one thing. And consistent with his knowledge that it was a fake gun, look what he did after the first altercation, which is impossible to get around for them. The first altercation by the parking garage, where he's claims he's pulled a gun, is pulled on a real gun that he doesn't know is a fake gun. He continues to follow the guy who pulls the real gun and, according to him, tried to kill him. So think about that for a second when you talk about a reasonable doubt or a doubt based on reason. Think about that. That was so odd. I mean, he said, yeah, the guy pulled out a gun on me. I thought it was a real gun, and he threatened to kill me. So after he walked away, I decided to follow him. I don't follow him, berate him as I'm following him, almost begging him to shoot me. Well, let's see Detective Flores, but anyway, Detective Flores told you what he thought about that. He testified. He said, that would be an odd thing for Relli to do. It's testimony from his trial. Mr. Efron, on December 2021, you asked him why he continued to follow Mr. Mayers if he knew he had a gun, right? Answer, yes, Detective Flores. Question, because according to you, you told him that would seem to be an odd thing to do, right? Or odd thing to do, I didn't say right. And Detective Flores said yes. Of course it's an odd thing to do if you know it's a real gun. Not so much an odd thing to do if you think it's a fake gun or a prop gun. And of course, when Relli was questioned about why he would do that, about being an odd thing to do, his answer was, when Detective Flores questioned about it, Relli said, I don't know. That was his answer to Detective Flores early on when he questioned him. When you asked Mr. Efron why did he continue to follow Mr. Mayers after seeing the gun, what he said was, he didn't know why. So, Detective Flores, and he said correct, Detective Flores questioned him about it, and the best Relli could do at that point was say, I don't know why I followed him, it was a real gun. Obviously, I don't know was all Relli could say, because he knew he couldn't tell the truth. That was a prop gun. He knew that. That alone is reasonable doubt. That is a reasonable doubt.